My name is Andrea, and before we dive in, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. Not for the algorithm, not for me, but because what you're about to hear isn't just a story, it's a warning. This is about someone I trusted with my deepest pain, someone who became my lifeline during the darkest period of my life, and then turned around and sold my trauma to the internet for clout. But here's the twist. She thought she got away with it. She was wrong. So grab your coffee, get comfortable, because this one's a ride. Okay, so March 2023. I'm 28 years old, and my life is imploding. I'd just left my ex-fiancé, Daniel, and when I say left, I don't mean a regular breakup. I mean, I escaped. Because Daniel didn't just break my heart, he systematically destroyed my sense of reality. 3 years of gaslighting. Not the casual kind where someone denies saying something, the surgical kind, where they dismantle your brain so carefully that you start questioning whether your own memories are real. Let me give you an example. One night we got into a massive fight. I mean, screaming, crying, the whole thing. It was about him texting his ex at 2 a.m. The next morning I brought it up and he just looked at me like I was insane. "What fight?" he said. "Andrea, we watched a movie and went to bed. Are you feeling okay?" And here's the thing. He said it so calmly, so concerned, that I actually started doubting myself. Did we fight? Did I imagine it? Was I losing my mind? Spoiler alert, I wasn't. He was just that good. He did this constantly. He'd delete my texts and swear I never sent them. He'd make plans, cancel them, and then act confused when I got upset. We never agreed to that. You're remembering wrong. He convinced me I was too sensitive when I cried, too dramatic when I asked questions, too paranoid when I noticed things. And then here's where it gets really dark. He started telling me I needed help, like psychiatric help. He researched facilities, printed brochures, left them on my nightstand. "Baby, I'm worried about you," he'd say. "Your anxiety is getting worse. Maybe you should talk to someone about, going somewhere for a while." He was threatening to have me institutionalized. For 3 years, this man convinced me I was going crazy, that I was the problem, that my reality wasn't real, until I found the proof. One day, his phone was unlocked on the counter. I don't even know what made me look. Maybe some survival instinct finally kicking in, but I opened his messages, and there it was. A group chat with his friends, hundreds of messages, him laughing about me, joking about how easy it was to mess with her head, sharing strategies. They had a whole system for gaslighting me. One message said, "Dude, I told her we never had that conversation, and she literally apologized to me." These chicks are so easy to manipulate, LMAO. I took screenshots. My hands were shaking so hard I almost dropped the phone. And then I left. That day, I packed whatever I could fit in my car, drove to my friend Rachel's place, and collapsed. For 2 weeks, I couldn't function, couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I'd replay moments from our relationship, trying to figure out what was real and what he'd planted in my head. I felt like I was drowning in public, surrounded by people who had no idea I was disappearing. And that's when Mia showed up. So Mia and I worked at the same marketing agency, different departments, but we'd seen each other around. She was one of those people everyone loved, Warm, bubbly, always remembered your coffee order. She had this Instagram presence, like 40,000 followers, where she posted aesthetic morning routines, journal entries about mental health, quotes about healing, very authentic vulnerability vibes. 3 weeks after I left Daniel, she found me in the break room. I was microwaving leftover pasta at 3 p.m. because I'd forgotten to eat again, just staring at the spinning plate like it held the meaning of life. "Hey," she said softly. "I don't want to overstep, but are you okay? You seem like you're going through something." I should have lied, should have smiled and said I was fine, but I was so tired of pretending. so desperate for someone to see me. So I just broke, right there, by the microwave, under fluorescent office lights. I started ugly crying, the kind where your face crumples and you can't breathe. Mia didn't flinch. She just guided me outside to her car, handed me tissues, and waited. When I finally stopped shaking, I told her everything about Daniel, the gaslighting, how I couldn't trust my own thoughts anymore, how I felt like I was going insane. And she looked at me with these eyes. God, I'll never forget the look on her face. And she said, I know exactly what you're going through. My ex did the same thing. Convinced me I was crazy until I thought I actually might be. It took me 2 years to feel like myself again. She took my hand. Her nail polish was chipped. I remember that detail weirdly. And she said, You're not alone anymore, Andrea. I've got you. And for the first time in months, I believed I could survive this. Over the next 3 months, Mia became my lifeline. We'd meet for coffee before work, text throughout the day, FaceTime at night when the panic attacks hit. She introduced me to her therapist, sent me articles about trauma bonding and PTSD, stayed on the phone with me at 2 a.m. when I'd wake up hyperventilating, convinced I'd hallucinated my entire relationship. She knew everything. The time Daniel locked me out of our apartment to teach me a lesson. How he'd schedule couples therapy and then cancel last minute. Telling the therapist I was too unstable to attend. The night his friend made a rape joke at dinner, and Daniel laughed while squeezing my thigh under the table so hard it left a bruise. I told Mia things I hadn't even told my therapist, because she felt safe, because she understood, because when you're drowning, you'll grab onto anyone who offers a hand. Now, here's the thing I didn't notice at the time. Maya was always recording. Just for my morning routine content, she'd say, propping her phone against her coffee cup, "Don't worry, I'll keep you out of frame." Or, "Oh, I love this lighting. Do you mind if I grab a quick clip for my story?" And I never thought twice about it. Her whole brand was documenting her life, right? And she always seemed so conscious of my privacy. Always asked permission. Always angled the camera away. In hindsight, that was the brilliance of it. She made me feel protected while she was gathering ammunition. June 14th, a Tuesday. I'm at work, halfway through a presentation about Q3 campaign strategies, when my phone starts vibrating once, twice, then continuously, like a swarm of bees in my pocket. I ignore it, finish my slide about demographic targeting, but I notice my colleague Sarah glancing at her phone with this weird expression. During the break, I check my messages, 63 notifications, texts from friends I haven't talked to in months, DMs from strangers, 3 missed calls from my mom. Andrea, WTF is this? Are you okay? I just saw Mia's video. I had no idea you went through that. Sending love. Is this real, or is she exploiting you? My hands start shaking as I open Instagram. Mia's story is right there. A carousel post with a black screen and white text. TW, abuse, gaslighting. The story I'm about to share isn't mine to tell, but I have permission, and I think it needs to be heard. I swipe. The video starts with Mia's face, no makeup, red eyes, very authentic. Today, I want to talk about a friend of mine who's going through something that... She wipes her eyes. God, I can barely say this without crying. No. She's a survivor of psychological abuse, Mia continues. Her ex-fiancé gaslit her so severely that she ended up in a psychiatric evaluation. And the worst part? He convinced everyone around her that she was the problem. My vision blurs. This can't be happening. I've watched her struggle to eat, to sleep, to believe her own memories are real. Dramatic pause. Deep breath. But I'm sharing this because domestic abuse isn't always visible. Sometimes the worst scars are the ones no one can see. And then, oh God, then come the audio clips. My voice, distorted, pitched higher, but unmistakably mine. The recording from that first day in her car, when I'd broken down about Daniel. She'd cut it into fragments. My sobs, me saying, I don't know what's real anymore, me describing the night he told me I'd fabricated an entire argument. Text overlays appear. This is what gaslighting sounds like. Listen to her voice. This is someone who's lost to themselves. If you know someone going through this, please reach out. The video has 1.2 million views. I can't breathe. The office walls tilt. I hear my own breathing. Sharp, shallow, panicky. But it sounds far away, like I'm underwater. Sarah touches my shoulder. Andrea? You okay? I'm not okay. I'm standing in my office building, watching my most vulnerable moment, the worst day of my life, playing on a loop for strangers. People are commenting, "This broke my heart. Thank you for being so brave. More people need to talk about this." Except I didn't talk about it. I didn't choose this. I didn't give permission. I call Mia immediately. She picks up on the third ring, voice bright and cheerful. Hey, did you see the post? I hope you're not mad, but I really felt like your story could help. Take it down. What? Take it down. My voice is shaking. You recorded me without telling me. You posted my trauma without my consent. You used my, Andrea, calm down. That soothing, therapeutic tone she uses. I changed your voice. No one knows it's you. And I didn't use any names or identifying details. This is actually protected under, I don't care what it's protected under. You knew I wasn't ready for this to be public. You knew. I'm gasping now, black dots in my vision. You're catastrophizing, Mia says calmly. This is your anxiety talking. Take a breath. We can talk about this tonight, okay? I have a brand call in 5 minutes. She hangs up. I stand there in the hallway, phone pressed to my ear, listening to dead air. Around me, life continues. Someone's laughing in the break room, a printer hums, phones ring. But I feel like I'm having an out-of-body experience, watching myself disintegrate in real time. The video stays up. By that evening, 2.4 million views. BuzzFeed writes an article. Influencer's powerful video about friends' abuse has everyone talking. Refinery29 features it in their weekly roundup. 3 trauma therapists duet the video with professional commentary. And Mia? She posts a follow-up thanking everyone for their support. Announces she'll be doing a podcast interview about advocating for abuse survivors. Shares mental health resources. Her follower count jumps to 89,000 overnight. Mine doesn't change. Because nobody knows it's me. Except everyone I know. Knows, my coworkers, my family, friends from college sending messages like, I always suspected something was wrong with Daniel. My therapist calls, confused about why I hadn't mentioned going public with my story. The violation is multi-layered, right? She stole my story, stripped it for parts. Repackaged my pain as her content, used my worst moment as a stepping stone for her personal brand. And she did it while performing empathy, while pretending this was about helping me. But here's the cruelest part. She did it so carefully that I couldn't even prove it was me. The voice was altered, no names used. She could claim it was a composite story, if anyone questioned her. Legally covered, emotionally devastating. That night, alone in my apartment, I replay the video again and again, watching strangers comment on my pain like it's entertainment. Watching Mia's follower count climb. Watching her respond to comments with prayer hands and heart emojis while I sit on my bathroom floor, hyperventilating into a towel so my neighbors won't hear. I want to scream, to smash my phone, to drive to her apartment and make her look at what she's done. But more than anything, I want to disappear. Daniel dismantled my reality from the inside, but Mia, she took what was left and sold it to the highest bidder. And somehow, that feels even worse. For 3 days, I don't leave my apartment. I call in sick. Ignore concerned friends. Live on crackers because the thought of food makes me nauseous. I keep checking Mia's profile like I'm picking at a wound, watching her numbers climb, reading comments from people who think she's a hero for giving voice to the voiceless. On the fourth day, I find myself standing in my kitchen at 4 a.m., holding a knife, not because I want to hurt myself, because I'm imagining driving to Mia's place, banging on her door, and forcing her to understand, through violence if necessary, what she's made me feel. The knife feels heavy in my hand, real, dangerous. I set it down carefully, back away from the counter, and that's when I realize, if I confront her now, I lose. Either I do something I can't take back, or she gaslights me again, makes me seem unstable. Probably records that conversation too, and posts it with some caption about how hard it is when friends in crisis lash out. I can't win with emotion. I need strategy. So I make coffee, open my laptop, and I start building my case. First step, document everything. I go through every text message Mia and I ever exchanged. 4,127 messages over 3 months. I screenshot conversations where I explicitly told her I wasn't ready to go public. Messages where I said things like, "Thank you for keeping this between us," and "I don't know what I'd do if people knew." Here's one from that first day after I cried in her car. Me, "I'm sorry for falling apart on you like that." Mia, "Don't apologize. I'm honored you trusted me. This stays between us. I promise." I save that screenshot in 3 different places. Then I analyze her Instagram timeline. The day after I told her about Daniel's hospitalization threat, she posts a carousel about recognizing emotional manipulation. The week I describe his friend's rape joke, she does a story about men who enable abuse culture. She'd been beta testing my trauma on her audience for weeks before the big reveal. I cross-reference her follower growth with her content. Before meeting me, her engagement was stagnant, maybe 2,000 likes per post, 100 comments. After I became her content mine, her numbers exploded. Posts about supporting survivors got 45,000 likes. Her advocacy content got shared by major accounts. She wasn't just using my story, she was building her entire brand on it. Next, I dive into legal research, California privacy laws, wiretapping statutes, HIPAA violations. Turns out, California is a 2-party consent state, meaning she couldn't legally record me without permission in a private conversation. Boom, that's leverage. I contact a lawyer specializing in digital privacy. Her name's Patricia, sharp woman in her 50s, who's handled cases against influencers before. "Do you have proof she recorded you without consent?" Patricia asks. I have texts where she promised confidentiality, and the video clearly uses my voice, even altered. Can you prove it's your voice? That's the problem. Voice alteration makes it murky. And Mia never used identifying details. She could claim it was a composite narrative. But, Patricia continues, if you can demonstrate a pattern of deception, malicious intent, and financial gain from your story specifically, we might have a case. It's not slam dunk, but it's viable. I leave her office with a $5,000 retainer agreement and a sick feeling in my stomach. This is going to be expensive, lengthy, emotionally brutal. But then something happens that changes everything. 2 weeks after the video blows up, Mia gets her first brand deal. A partnership with a meditation app called Mindful Space. She posts about it glowingly. How meditation saved her life during her friend's crisis. Offers her followers a discount code. The comments are mostly supportive, but I notice one user, Truth Detective, posting questions. How much are they paying you to advertise during a trauma story? Interesting how this advocacy coincides with monetization. Where's the friend now? Did she consent to this? Mia deletes those comments, which tells me 2 things. 1, she's monitoring criticism carefully. 2, she's worried about the narrative slipping. I create a burner account, Andrea Anonymous, and start documenting every deleted comment, every brand deal, every interview where she exaggerates her role in my recovery. And she's getting sloppy. In a podcast interview, she says, "My friend was hospitalized 3 times before we met." False. I was never hospitalized. In an Instagram story, I helped her move out in the middle of the night. False. Rachel helped me move. Mia didn't even know until days later. She's embellishing, turning herself into a savior character. And she's doing it publicly, on record. I collect every inconsistency. Create a timeline, cross-reference her claims with my actual experience. Every lie is a thread I can pull. Here's what I realize. I don't need to confront Mia directly. I need to let her destroy herself. Narcissists who perform empathy can't help but push boundaries. They get addicted to the validation, the attention, the power of being seen as a good person. And Mia's riding high. She goes from 40K to 190K followers in 6 weeks. BetterHelp wants to sponsor her. A literary agent reaches out about a book deal on supporting survivors. She's becoming the face of a movement she built on my stolen pain. So I wait and watch and document. I also start quietly reaching out to mutual friends, not to trash talk, just to ask subtle questions. Did Mia ever mention how she got permission for that video? Has she seemed different to you lately? Most people don't know, but a few do. And I ask them to document any conversations with Mia, any times she misrepresented facts or pushed for details about my life. Rachel tells me something chilling. She asked me last week if you'd been officially diagnosed with PTSD. She wanted to know if you'd tried to hurt yourself. I told her to ask you directly, and she got kind of annoyed. Mia's fishing for more content, more trauma to monetize. Then I discover something huge. Through careful Instagram stalking, I find a woman named Elise who commented on one of Mia's old posts. You did the same thing to me 2 years ago. Used my story without asking. I'm glad people finally see who you are. I DM Elise immediately. She responds within an hour. Oh my God, are you the friend from the video? I'm so sorry. She did this to me after my miscarriage. We talk for hours. Elise tells me Mia recorded her crying at a coffee shop, posted it with a caption about being there for friends in crisis. Never asked permission. When Elise confronted her, Mia told her she was being selfish for making her advocacy about her. I couldn't do anything, Elise says. She'd already deleted the post by the time I tried legal action, and I didn't have the energy to fight. She pauses. But if you're going after her, I'll help however I can. Now I have 2 victims. A pattern, evidence of repeated behavior. This isn't a mistake. It's a system. I create a folder on my desktop, Project Truth. Inside are subfolders, evidence, screenshots, recordings, timelines, inconsistencies. Witnesses, statements from Rachel, Sarah, Elise, others legal, correspondence with Patricia, digital rights research media strategy, draft statements, list of journalists, release timeline. I'm not going to post a messy emotional call-out thread. I'm not giving Mia ammunition to paint me as unstable. I'm building something airtight, professional, undeniable, and I'm going to make sure when the truth comes out, it's on my terms. While I'm doing this, Mia's star keeps rising. She gets verified on Instagram, speaks at a mental health summit, does a TEDx talk called The Silent Epidemic of Emotional Abuse. Every appearance is another twist of the knife. Another reminder that she's being celebrated for stealing my life. But I don't break. I keep working, keep documenting, keep building. Because I learned something from Daniel. The most effective manipulation isn't loud. It's patient. It's strategic. It's knowing exactly when to strike. And Mia has no idea the clock is ticking. One night, 6 weeks after the video goes viral, I'm sitting on my couch with a glass of wine. I open Mia's Instagram. She's just posted another gratitude post about hitting 250,000 followers. The caption ends with, To my friend who inspired me to use my platform for good, you know who you are. Your courage changed everything. I smile, set down my wine, open my laptop. No, Mia, you have no idea who I am, but you're about to find out. The takedown begins with a single email, 3 months of evidence, legal consultation, coordination with Elise, prepared statements. Patricia reviews everything one last time. This is solid, she says. If you're ready, we can move forward. I'm not sure I'll ever be ready, but I'm done waiting. September 15th. I send a cease and desist letter to Mia through Patricia's firm. The letter outlines unauthorized recording and use of my voice and story, breach of confidentiality and trust, financial gain through misappropriation of my trauma, demonstrable pattern with other victims, demand for immediate content removal, demand for public acknowledgement and apology, 72 hours to comply before legal action. The letters delivered to her apartment and her agency. By noon, I get a text from Mia, 27 messages in rapid succession. Defensive, you're twisting everything. Manipulative, I thought we were friends. Threatening, my lawyer says you have no case. I don't respond. Instead, I execute phase 2. Using Patricia's guidance, I file formal complaints with Instagram, YouTube, and Spotify, citing privacy violations, non-consensual recordings, community guideline breaches. I include audio analysis from a forensic expert confirming the voice matches mind screenshots of Mia's admissions that the story was about a specific person, Elise's testimony as proof of pattern behavior, statements from Rachel and Sarah confirming I never consented. Instagram's initial response is automated, unhelpful. But I'd also contacted a journalist. Her name's Kayla Chen. She writes for The Verge about influencer ethics. I'd been following her work for months, waiting for the right moment. I'd like to tell you about something I'm calling trauma mining, I write. It's when influencers exploit their friends' private pain for content, without consent, for financial gain. And I'm not the only victim. Kayla responds within hours. We schedule a call. For 90 minutes, I walk her through everything, the timeline, the evidence, the pattern. Mia's meteoric rise built on stolen stories. The brands paying her to perform empathy over other people's trauma. This is exactly what I've been trying to write about, Kayla says. The dark side of vulnerability influencing. Can you go on record? I hesitate. Going public means exposure, scrutiny, victim blaming. It means Daniel might find out. It means everyone will know the details of my trauma, again. But this time, by my own choice. Yes, I say, but I want control over how my story is told, and I want Elise included. This isn't just about me. Agreed. 2 weeks later, The Verge publishes The Influencer Who Built Her Brand on Other People's Trauma. It's devastating. Kayla's done extensive reporting, interviewed Elise, reviewed all my evidence, contacted brands partnering with Mia. She even found a third victim, a woman named Jade, whose postpartum depression story Mia borrowed for content. The article includes side-by-side comparisons of Mia's claims versus our actual experiences. Audio analysis, confirming real voices, not composites. Screenshots of deleted comments and defensive responses. Statements from trauma psychologists about the harm of trauma mining. A breakdown of her earnings from advocacy content. The response is immediate, catastrophic. Within hours, Mia's comment section explodes. Her followers split. Some defend her. She was trying to help. But many feel betrayed. The most damning comments come from other survivors. I shared my story in her DMs thinking she cared. Did she use that too? BetterHelp drops their sponsorship. Mindful Space issues a statement about not aligning with exploitative creators. Her literary agent pulls out. 3 podcasts delete interviews with her. Her follower count starts dropping. 250K becomes 240K, becomes 225K. Mia posts a response that night. 7-minute video, tears streaming. She claims she made mistakes, but her intentions were pure. Says the article lacks context. Says she tried to reach out to Andrea privately to apologize. Lie. She sent threatening texts, not apologies. I post my response on Twitter. My first public statement, my name is Andrea. I'm the friend from Mia's viral video. I never gave permission for my story to be shared. I explicitly asked for confidentiality. She recorded me without consent, altered my voice, and built her entire platform on my trauma while I was still healing from it. This isn't about mistakes. This is about exploitation, and I'm not the only victim. I attach screenshots, receipts, timestamps, everything. The tweet goes viral. 2 million impressions in 12 hours. News outlets pick it up. BuzzFeed, influencer accused of trauma mining, faces. Backlash after victims come forward. Even Good Morning America mentions it in a segment about influencer ethics. Mia tries damage control, more apologies. A promise to educate herself, an announcement that she's taking a break from social media to focus on mental health. But the internet doesn't forget, and I'm not done. With Patricia's help, we file a civil lawsuit. Invasion of privacy, breach of confidence, misappropriation of likeness, intentional infliction of emotional distress, unjust enrichment. We're not asking for millions. We're asking for permanent removal of all content featuring my story, public acknowledgement and apology, donation of all profits to a domestic abuse nonprofit, payment of my legal fees and therapy costs. Mia's lawyer tries to settle immediately. They offer money in exchange for an NDA. I refuse. This isn't about money. This is about accountability. We go to mediation. Mia shows up looking exhausted, her usual polish gone. She's lost 80,000 followers. Her agency dropped her. Brand deals dried up. Her reputation's in ruins. I really am sorry, she says during mediation. And for the first time, she doesn't sound like she's performing. I convinced myself I was helping, that I was amplifying your story. But you're right, I didn't ask. I didn't think about what it would do to you. She pauses. I wanted to matter. I look at her. This woman who was my lifeline, my betrayer, my cautionary tale. You did matter, I say. But you chose to matter by standing on other people's pain instead of building something real. That's the difference between advocacy and exploitation. We settle. Mia agrees to all our terms. She posts a public apology, acknowledging what she did, donates $30,000 to the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence, signs an agreement never to discuss my story publicly again. 6 months later. I'm sitting in my new apartment, bigger, brighter, mine. I left the marketing agency, started freelancing, built a consulting business, helping nonprofits tell authentic stories without exploiting survivors. I also launched a project, Your Story, Your Terms, a resource for people whose trauma has been co-opted. Legal templates, platform complaint guides, support network. Elise and Jade are both involved. We've helped 43 people so far. Mia's account still exists, but she posts rarely now. Generic inspiration quotes, photos of her dog. Her follower count plateaued at 87K, mostly people who forgot to unfollow. She's not an influencer anymore. She's just someone with a phone and a past she can't escape. Do I feel bad for her? Sometimes. In quiet moments, I remember the woman who sat with me in her car, who held my hand while I hyperventilated, who made me believe I wasn't alone. That person was real. Even if the friendship wasn't. But mostly, I feel free. Because here's what I learned. Sometimes silence isn't weakness. It's strategy. While Mia was chasing views, I was building evidence. While she was performing empathy, I was protecting the truth. And in the end, authenticity always outlasts performance. Daniel taught me that reality could be manipulated. Mia taught me that even people who claim to care can weaponize your pain. But I taught myself something more important, that I could take my power back, not through violence, not through public meltdowns, but through patience, documentation, strategic action. My trauma will always be part of my story, but it's my story now. Not Daniel's punchline, not Mia's content, mine. And that's the real revenge. Reclaiming what was stolen and building something meaningful from the wreckage. So if you're going through something similar, if someone's co-opted your pain, violated your trust, or turned your trauma into their platform, listen to me. You're not powerless. Document everything. Find your people. Build your case. And when you're ready, take back what's yours. Because the truth always trends the longest. And Karma, she's patient, but she's thorough. Thanks for listening. Hit that subscribe button if this resonated, not for the algorithm, but because stories like this matter. Because accountability matters. Because we need to stop rewarding people who profit from other people's pain. And remember, trauma isn't content, it's life. Treat it accordingly. I'm Andrea, and this was my truth. You know what's funny? Not ha-ha funny, but that dark, ironic kind of funny. The thing that broke me the most wasn't even the betrayal itself. It was realizing how easy it was for her to do it. Think about it. We live in this world now where vulnerability is currency, where pain gets monetized, where the quickest way to build a following is to cry on camera and call it authenticity. And I'm not saying all of it's fake. I'm not even saying Mia didn't care about me at all. I think she did. I think she genuinely wanted to help me. But somewhere along the way, the lines blurred. The helping became performing. The friendship became content. And my pain became her pathway to relevance. And here's the scariest part. She probably didn't even see it happening. She probably convinced herself that sharing my story was a public service, that she was raising awareness, that the ends justified the means. That's how people like Mia operate. They're not cartoon villains twirling their mustaches. They're people who've convinced themselves that their need for validation is actually altruism. And that makes them so much more dangerous. I've thought a lot about what I would say if I saw Mia today. Not in mediation, not through lawyers, just if we ran into each other at a coffee shop. Would I be angry? Would I be cold? Would I just walk away? Honestly, I think I'd be sad. Because here's what I've come to understand. Mia destroyed our friendship and violated my trust and built her career on my trauma. But she also destroyed herself in the process. Not because I took her down, though, yeah, I did that. But because she built her entire identity on something hollow, on performance, on other people's pain, on a version of herself that only existed online. And when that collapsed, she had nothing left. No real friends, no authentic community, no sense of who she actually was beneath the aesthetic and the captions and the carefully curated vulnerability. Just emptiness. And maybe that's the real revenge. Not the legal settlement, not the public exposure, but the fact that she has to live with what she did, with who she became, with the knowledge that she could have been someone real and chose to be a brand instead. If you're listening to this and you've been betrayed by a friend, a partner, a family member, anyone, here's what I want you to know. Your anger is valid. Don't let anyone tell you to move on, or forgive and forget, or rise above it. Feel the anger. Let it burn. Let it fuel you, but don't let it consume you. Because here's the thing about revenge. The best kind isn't about destruction. It's about resurrection. When Daniel gaslit me, he tried to erase who I was, to convince me I was crazy, unstable, unlovable. When Mia exploited me, she tried to turn me into content, into a story, into a cautionary tale she could profit from. But I refused to be erased, and I refused to be flattened into a narrative. I took back my story, my voice, my power, and I built something real from the wreckage. That's the revenge they never see coming, not your breakdown, your breakthrough. Now look, I know some of you are probably thinking, but Andrea, didn't you kind of do the same thing? Didn't you expose Mia publicly? Didn't you turn her into content? And yeah, fair question. Here's the difference, though. Mia took my private pain and made it public without consent. I took her public actions and held her accountable for them. She exploited vulnerability. I documented facts. She performed empathy for profit. I pursued justice with evidence. But I'll be honest with you, there were moments during this whole process where I wondered if I was becoming the thing I hated, if I was just fighting exploitation with exploitation, if the only difference between me and Mia was that I had better PR. And maybe there's some truth to that. Maybe in the end, we're all just trying to control the narrative, to be the hero of our own story, to make meaning out of pain. The difference, and I really do believe this, is consent. I chose to share my story publicly after months of deliberation, with legal counsel on my own terms. She chose to steal mine while I was still bleeding. Intent matters. Consent matters. Context matters. And anyone who tells you otherwise is trying to justify their own bullshit. So here's my advice, and take it or leave it, because I'm not some guru. I'm just someone who survived this mess. 1. Document everything immediately. The second you feel like something's off, start screenshotting, recording dates, saving receipts. You might never need it, but if you do, you'll be glad you have it. 2. Don't confront emotionally. Strategize legally. I know you want to scream, to make them understand, to force them to see what they've done, but emotional confrontations give them ammunition. Cold, calculated strategy, that's what actually works. 3. Find your witnesses. You're not alone. You're never alone. There are always other people who've seen the truth, who've noticed the cracks, who've been hurt the same way. Find them. Connect with them. Build your case together. 4. Take care of your mental health. This is a marathon, not a sprint. Get a therapist, talk to friends, take breaks from the fight when you need to. Revenge is sweet, but it's not worth your sanity. 5. Remember, you're not doing this for them. You're doing it for you. Accountability isn't about making them suffer. It's about reclaiming your dignity, about proving to yourself that you're not powerless, about sending a message to the next person they try to hurt, not today. Here's something I never expected. Going through this, the betrayal, the legal battle, the public exposure actually healed something in me that Daniel broke. Because Daniel convinced me I couldn't trust my own reality, that my perceptions were wrong, my memories were false, my instincts were broken. But fighting Mia, that required me to trust myself completely, to trust that I remembered things correctly, to trust that my anger was justified, to trust that I deserved better. And every time I found a piece of evidence that proved I was right, every screenshot, every inconsistency, every witness who backed me up, it was like rebuilding my sense of reality, brick by brick. Daniel told me I was crazy. Mia tried to profit from my pain, but I proved, to myself, to the world, that I was neither crazy nor powerless. I was right, and that was everything. Sometimes people ask me, do you think Mia learned anything? Do you think she's changed? Honestly, I don't know, and I don't really care. That sounds harsh, but hear me out. My healing doesn't depend on her redemption. My peace doesn't require her transformation. She could spend the rest of her life atoning for what she did, or she could double down and blame me forever. Either way, it's not my problem anymore. I did what I needed to do. I held her accountable. I protected future victims. I took back my power. What she does with the aftermath? That's between her and her conscience, if she has one. But here's what I hope. I hope she looks at herself in the mirror and feels the full weight of what she did, not in a performative, I'm sorry I got caught way, but in a genuine, I hurt people for likes, and that's unforgivable way. I hope she rebuilds herself into someone real. Someone who understands that connection isn't content, that vulnerability isn't currency, that other people's pain isn't hers to package and sell. I hope she finds authenticity, not for me, but for the next person who trusts her. If there's one thing I want you to take away from this story, it's this. Your trauma is not content. Your pain is not a plot point. Your healing is not a hashtag. You are a whole, complex, messy, beautiful human being. And you deserve friends who see you as that, not as material. You deserve partners who protect your story, not weaponize it. You deserve a world where vulnerability is met with care, not exploitation. And if someone violates that trust, you have every right to hold them accountable, not because you're vindictive, but because you're valuable. And your story, your real story, not the version someone else narrates, matters. So that's it. That's the whole story. The betrayal, the strategy, the justice, the aftermath. It's messy, it's complicated, it's not a perfect Hollywood ending where everyone learns a lesson and lives happily ever after. But it's real. And it's mine. If you made it this far, thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for witnessing. Thank you for caring. If this story helped you in any way, if it gave you courage, or clarity, or just the knowledge that you're not alone, then it was worth telling. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Not because I need the numbers, but because I'm going to keep telling these stories. Stories about betrayal and accountability, about pain and power, about what happens when you refuse to be a victim and choose to be a survivor instead. And I want you here for that. I want us to build something together. A community where trauma isn't monetized, where vulnerability is honored, where people's pain is protected, not packaged. That's the world I'm fighting for. That's the revenge that actually matters. Not tearing others down, but building something better, something real, something that lasts. So thank you for being here, for listening, for believing that people like me, people like you, deserve better. This is Andrea, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay strong, stay strategic, and remember, the truth always wins, even when it takes time, even when it's hard, even when everyone's against you. The truth always wins. Peace. Oh, one more thing. Last week, I got a message from a girl named Sophie. She said Mia had reached out to her, started building a friendship, started asking about her trauma. Sophie said she felt weird about it. Something seemed off. So she Googled Mia's name, found my story, and blocked her immediately. She thanked me for speaking up, said I probably saved her from going through what I went through, and you know what? That's the revenge I'll carry with me forever. Not the lawsuit, not the public takedown, but the fact that by telling my story, I protected someone else's. That's what makes all of this worth it. Okay, now we're done. For real this time. See you next week.